Hey everyone, it's Kaycie, and today we're going to go through kind of a stretch and mobilize flow, a little mini one, and the focus is going to be on the shoulders and the core. I don't have any props today, but if you want to have anything handy just in case, feel free to have something. Otherwise, just you and your mat. So because we have a short class time today, we're going to start right off on our backs. So come down into a nice reclined shape, and let's just draw the soles of the feet together and let the knees open up wide. And we can just let the hips start to melt open a little bit here, especially since the hips isn't as much of a focus today. We want to just kind of let them melt and find a little bit of release. So if this feels uncomfortable for the legs at any point, feel free, switch up your variation, make it comfortable, make it restful. I want you to feel grounded here. So arms can go anywhere you'd like, maybe down towards your legs, out towards the sides, or even little cactus shape arms that bend into the elbows like goalpost arms. Whatever feels best in your body at this moment. Go ahead and exhale, let all of your breath empty out. Through the nose, start to breathe in into your belly, up into your rib cage. Lift the breath high up into your chest and your shoulders, and let yourself just pause here for a moment. Feel that full breath retention. And then open up the mouth and exhale, sigh it all the way out. Again, slow breath in, really scoop it up from the bottom. Let it rise and lift up towards the top, expanding in all directions. Holding at the top of the breath, feel the retention. And then open up the mouth and exhale, let it all the way out. Now keep the breath through the nose. Take a slow breath in. Keep the breath through the nose on the exhale, slow breath out. Just the same length as the inhale if you're able. Try to even out the breath. Go ahead and take just a few more on your own and lightly activate your Ujjayi breath, a little constriction down the back of your throat. Starting to really slow the breath, regulate the breath. Moving it intentionally throughout the body. Alrighty, and let's give little wiggles in the fingers and in the toes. Maybe rock the head side to side. And then the hands are going to sweep down to the outer legs, helping to lift the knees towards each other if they're still butterflied. Separate the feet about hips width apart and just sway your knees side to side. Arms can open out, whatever feels best, and just kind of loosening up your lower back, loosening up into the hips a little bit. All right, let the knees sway back to center. You can keep the knees bent, feet flat on the floor. We're gonna focus a little bit more on the upper body now. Right arm reaches up, okay? Your palm should be facing to the left, okay? Thumb pointing back. And then just let the arm cross over the chest. As the arm crosses over the chest, you're gonna use your left arm as a hook in front of that right arm. Try to get above the elbow if possible with your hand or with the hook of your elbow, and just start to pull it in. Now, as you pull it in, feel that nice stretch all the way around, wrapping around the shoulder and upper arm. Give yourself a breath or two here. Just try to melt into it. Okay, so now you're going to keep your arm there, and all you're going to do is resist. So your left arm is going to hold your right arm in place, but I want you to resist with your right arm and try to press it back to its starting point. So you're resisting, you're pressing, you're holding for 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release. Let the arms drop down to your sides and just kind of roll around in the shoulders here. Just kind of loosen it up. We'll do that other side. Left arm reaches straight up, thumb points back, and just let the arm drop over the chest. This time the right arm is gonna hook in front, try to get above the elbow, and just start to pull it in towards the chest. Trying to avoid the microphone here, so if it's a little muffled, just bear with me. Feel that nice stretch and opening, and then we're gonna do a little bit of activating into the shoulders. So keep it hooked with your right arm, okay, or hand, and resist. Press your left arm back up as though you're trying to press it back to that starting point, but your right arm is resisting for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and relax, arms down to your sides, and same thing, just kind of play with the shoulders a little bit. Whatever feels good, just move your arms in that way. Okay, let's tap a little bit into the core here. So naturally, there's a little lift in that lower back, that lumbar spine, which is a very natural curve, okay? But we're going to kind of flatten out that curve, and we're gonna feel a lot more core intensive in the next movement. So begin to lengthen your tail forward, and almost as though you could scoop your tail up until you feel your lower back flatten down onto the ground, okay? Now, automatically, as the tail scoops up and the back flattens, you're gonna feel your belly button start to pull back, and you're gonna feel a little more core active through the front side, through the abdomen. Keep that here. You're slowly gonna lift your feet off the ground, knees stacked over your hips, coming into a reclined tabletop position with your legs. Okay, so keep that lower back nice and flattened here, just for the sake of this exercise. Knees stay over your hips, arms can stay down to your sides, or you can lift your head up, but don't crank your head and feel any kind of pressure on your neck. So if you are gonna lift it, just lift it, but keep the neck neutral. Try not to crunch or squeeze with your neck. You can also use your hands interlacing behind the back of the head for a little extra support here. Okay, now you already probably feel the core just by flattening that back out. Now from here, we're gonna slowly start to stretch the right leg forward and just kind of hover it. Option to stay here, or left hand to your left thigh. My hand's pressing forward, but the thigh's pressing back into my hand for resistance. For 3, 2, you should be shaking on this one. 1, lift the right knee back up, release your hands, switching sides. Left leg lengthens out, try to hover it if you can. Keep that lower back flat. Stay here, or right hand presses to right thigh, but you're resisting with the thigh, pressing it back into the hand for 3, 2, 1. Both knees up, relax the head down, and then set the feet to the ground. Rock your knees from side to side. So that core should be fired up now. We should feel a lot of opening through the front of our core, through our abdomen side, belly side. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of reclined arm balancing. Reclined crow is one of my favorites for just kind of feeling a little more active in my core, in my body, and getting a nice press into my arms and shoulders, okay, without having to bear any of the weight. So knees up towards your chest, and you're gonna connect your big toes together, okay? So last time we worked on flattening our back down nice and straight, and this time we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna work on a nice curling, like a rounding motion through the back, like cat pose, okay? So hands reach up, maybe slightly forward, and then you're gonna press through the palms, lifting your head and upper back and shoulders. And I want you to try to round out as much as you can through the upper back and the shoulders. Okay, now fingers spread wide here. You're gonna separate your knees so they're about the width of your arms. Connect your big toes and try to squeeze your knees as high up into the armpits as you can. Maybe they touch the arms, maybe they don't. Maybe they touch near the elbows, maybe they get really high in the armpits. Either way, press through the hands, round your upper back and shoulders, and with the big toes connected to get that core active, squeeze the feet towards the glutes. Keep pressing, keep squeezing, rounding for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and relax, hug the knees in, sway side to side. Already you should be feeling pretty fired up in that core. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. I'll give some options for going a little deeper if you want the single leg crow options, okay? Now, knees back to the chest, arms up, maybe reach the hands slightly forward, okay? So it's not just reaching in front of you, it's just, you're still reaching towards the ceiling, but just a little more slightly forward, okay? So this kind of is a little bit more of the angle you would take if you were actually balancing on your hands, okay? It'd be a little more forward. Now, lifting the head, shoulders, upper back, and then round. Really press, as though you're trying to press through your hands as much as possible. Open up the knees slightly, and then try to curl your knees as high up towards the arms as possible. Point the toes, bring them together, and squeeze them towards the glutes. Now, option to stay here, or keep your right knee connected, stretch your left leg out. Switching sides, left knee draws up, right leg extends, or stay where you are. Right knee comes up, press, 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 and then relax. Hug knees in, sway side to side. Alrighty here. Okay, so now we're gonna come back into that reclined tabletop. So take your knees up above the hips, nice little flex in the ankles, and we're gonna do the same thing where we're gonna kind of scoop our tail under just slightly until we feel the lower back flatten and the core nice and active. Hands are gonna reach forward in front of you this time, as though you're reaching towards the front of your mat. Okay, and then we're gonna just slowly lift through the head and through the shoulders, but same thing, not crunching the chin towards the chest. Alrighty, now from here, slowly start to extend your left leg out, and then extend your right leg out. If you need to lift them a little higher, that's okay. Otherwise, hover them, point out through the toes, arms can reach behind you, or keep the arms reaching forward. Now we're gonna come up. Let's all take the fingers down to the ground, okay? And then you're gonna drop the elbows. Now press to the elbows as you walk up onto the elbows and crunch your knees in. You're slowly gonna come up onto the fingers and lift yourself up. Okay, so that is a way of getting yourself up if you get stuck at any point. Otherwise, stay up on your fingertips, lift up through your chest, feel your belly button hug up and in so you feel more core active here. Okay, so this is a modified boat position. Now we're gonna kind of go high boat, low boat, but we're gonna do it modified first, okay? So with the fingers down on the ground, with the knees bent, lifting your thighs towards your chest as your chest lifts up, and then slowly extend your legs, bending your elbows, and just kind of lowering yourself down. And then come back up, and then lower back down. Inhale, come up. Exhale down. Inhale up, keep going. Exhale down. With or without the hands now. Inhale up, arms can reach forward. Exhale down. Inhale up, whatever variation you'd like. Exhale down. Just make sure you do it with integrity. 4 more. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale, come up. Cross the legs, sitting up nice and tall. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and then just open up your mouth and let it out. 1 more. Deep breath in. Open up the mouth, deep breath out. Now drop the hands behind you, uncross the legs, and this time we're going to keep the fingers pointing forward. Hands are about shoulder width apart. And you're gonna bend the elbows. Actually, let's spin the fingers out to the sides. Let's start with this one instead. I'm gonna turn away from you so you can get a better angle. With the fingers pointed out to the side, let's bend the elbows towards each other. Doesn't matter how much, just bending them in the general direction of each other. And as they bend in towards one another, begin to lift up through your ribs and your chest. And just feel that opening up through the arms, through the chest, the shoulders. Give yourself another deep breath here. And then let's straighten out the legs, drop the shoulders. We're gonna sit ourselves up again. Now, I really like to go through a motion called shoulder rainbows, okay? Usually I do this with a strap, but I've been doing it lately without a strap, and I actually like it a little bit better. So we're gonna do that together, and we're gonna work on the rotation within our shoulders, okay? But first, we're gonna kind of open them up a little bit, so let's interlace our fingers, sweep the palms down, and then forward in front of you. With your spine up nice and tall, let's take a deep breath in. And then exhale, you're gonna press through the palms, round your upper back, rounding through those shoulders. Take another breath here. On your next inhale, pull the shoulder blades back, retract. Imagine trying to draw them towards each other, a nice opening and rounding through the front of your chest. Another breath here. And then on your next exhale, press, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round, press. Now from here, inhale, lift the arms all the way up over your head. And as you reach up, draw up through the palms, shoulders lifting high up towards the ears. Let's take another deep breath in. And then exhale, just let the shoulders relax down away from your ears. Shoulders are still generally lifted, but they're just relaxed now. Inhale, lift the shoulders up as high as you can. Really use the muscles surrounding your scapula, your shoulders, to lift them high. And then exhale, retract. Bend your elbows, pull them back. Let your head drop back into your hands. Open up your chest. Take another breath here. Imagine that heart is lifting. Start to separate your fingers away from each other as you pull the elbows wide and sweep the arms all the way around to your sides and back behind you, where you can interlace your fingers again. This time, palms facing one another, okay? They don't have to touch. You can keep a separation between your hands, but overall, we have the palms facing one another, okay, or facing up. Now, from here, you're gonna draw down through the knuckles and just try to lift the arms away from the back. If that is too much, you can take a strap between your hands and use a strap instead, or anything you've got. Stay here or hinge forward. Don't worry about rounding. Just let yourself kind of fall into the shape. Focus more on the shoulder opening. Pull back through the knuckles, come all the way back upright into a seat. Release the arms, roll the shoulders forward and up. Exhale, roll them back and down. Again, let's roll the shoulders forward, up. Exhale, roll them back and down. Okay, so now that the shoulders are a little more prepped, we're gonna work the range of motion. So arms are gonna reach directly up and over your head, palms facing one another. Okay, now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you first, and then we'll kind of do it together. I'm gonna try to keep my arms kind of gravitating towards one another the entire time. So I'm trying to squeeze my arms towards each other. So I can even touch my palms here together if I'd like, but they aren't gonna be able to go back very far. So once I'm at that point, I'm gonna let the palms separate until about shoulder width apart. They can widen as much as they need to. Now, I want them to drop behind me, so I'm gonna have to start flipping my palms out. Keep them squeezing towards each other as they come all the way back. And as they come behind me, I'm gonna start to now rotate my palms towards each other and palms behind me, so I can start to bend my elbows and draw my arms up the back as high as I can, trying to keep them lifted away from the back and trying not to come forward. Spine stays upright the whole time. And then once the arms come back down, I'm still squeezing them towards each other. I'm rotating my palms, and then I'm gonna bring the palms out as I sweep them up until I come back up to the top, okay? We're gonna go through that a couple times through, just to get that nice opening and mobility in through the shoulders and the rotation. Arms up, palms facing each other. If you wanna start with palms touching, you can, arms straight. Draw the arms back until the elbows wanna bend. Don't let them bend. Separate the arms. Start to flip the palms out. Drop the arms back, squeeze them towards each other as much as you can. And then, once they're behind you, Keep squeezing them in. Rotate the palms towards each other. Feel it from your shoulders. Then palms flip back. Bend your elbows, draw the arms up the back, keep the spine upright. And then slowly re-extend the arms. Keep squeezing them towards each other, palms face each other. Then flip the palms out. Open up the chest. Keep them squeezing towards each other as you draw them all the way up. And then start to rotate the palms towards each other. Maybe squeeze them to touch. One more time, draw them back. Open up the hands, palms flip out. Keep squeezing them towards each other as the arms come all the way down to the sides. Then palms face one another. Squeeze them in, bend your elbows. Draw the hands as high up the back as you can. Spine stays tall. And then re-extend the arms down. Palms face one another. And then start to flip the palms out away from each other. Squeeze the backs of the hands towards one another. Draw the arms up, overhead. Rotate palms, maybe they touch, and then bring them all the way forward in front of you. Let's roll the shoulders forward and up. And exhale, roll them back and down. One more time, roll the shoulders forward and up. Exhale, roll them all the way back and down. Get that nice opening and releasing. We're gonna come into a nice tabletop. And from tabletop position, go ahead and squeeze into the ground with your hands and fingertips. Press into the hands, and you're just gonna create little circular motions over the wrists, just preparing them here. I like to always incorporate wrist work when I'm incorporating shoulder work and core work, especially if it's in preparation for arm balancing or inversions, something like that, giving the wrist some love. Make sure you go in both directions. All right. Now from here, we're gonna slowly come up into a plank position so you can extend your legs back, coming up onto the toes. Shoulders stay right over your wrists. Spread the fingers wide. And I want you to press into the hands and really round your upper back and your shoulders. You can drop the knees at any point. And then you're gonna slowly retract the shoulders as though you're trying to pull your shoulder blades towards each other. Your chest is gonna drop. And then you're gonna press and round. And then retract. Take a couple more. Press round. Shoulder blades working towards each other. Neutral. Drop the knees and lower all the way down onto your belly. After you're down onto your bellies, let's take the arms down to the sides. You can either keep the arms to the sides, just reaching them towards each other, or you can interlace your hands behind your back, reaching back through the knuckles. Neck stays nice and neutral. Inhale, lift up through your chest. Lift the arms away from the back. And then start to float the legs up away from the ground. Nice core activation through your back body here. Keep reaching long from crown of the head back to the toes, lifting up through the arms, lifting up through the legs, through the chest. Hold here for 3, 2, 1, and then come all the way down. Go ahead and cross your hands or stack your hands underneath your forehead. Let your forehead drop down. Bend your knees and just sweep the feet around side to side. Loosen up that lower back. Alrighty here. Let's go ahead and come up, bring the hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck the toes, strong active core. You can drop the knees if you need to use a little extra support. Otherwise, press all the way up into a nice high plank position. Step the feet together. Right hand plants underneath the face, maybe slightly forward in front of the face. So as you pivot your feet to the right side, left arm up, side plank position. You can also drop the right knee for a little added support. It's entirely up to you, but I want you to focus on your right shoulder, that you're not collapsing. We want to activate. Press, roll the chest open, press into the ground with the hand, holding, maybe gazing down, forward, or up. For 3, 2, and 1. Top hand comes down, come back to plank. Feet stay together. left hand below the face, slightly forward. Pivot your feet to the left, maybe drop your left knee. Right arm up, side plank, Vasisthasana. Looking at focal point of choice, whatever feels best on your neck. Lifting the hips, pressing through your shoulder, pressing it all the way down into the ground. Core is nice and active, holding for 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower the top hand back down, plank position, holding here once again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees. Go ahead and sink into a child's pose here for a moment. Okay. We're going to do one last little kind of burner and stretch. So we're going to start in a dolphin pose. Bring the forearms down onto the ground. Your forearms are going to be parallel to each other here, shoulder width apart. Palms down, fingers spread out wide. Okay, and really avoid your elbows splaying out wider than your shoulders. So if they are, walk them in a little bit until you can feel them kind of settle into that widened shape and still maintaining that shoulder width apart distance. Now, same thing, we don't want to collapse in our shoulders, we want to press and be active in the shoulders, pressing the ground away. And then from here, tuck the toes, lift the hips, looking down, or you can let the head drop back, but we're not resting the head on the ground, okay? If the head touches the ground, walk the arms a little closer together or look between the forearms. Start to walk the feet in and pike up the hips as high as you can over those shoulders. You can even come up onto your tippy toes, and you're just gonna let the weight come into the arms, press the ground away with the elbows, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop the knees down to the ground. Once again, give yourself a nice brief little child's pose here. Just kind of settling back in, relaxing through the bones, the muscles, connective tissues. Okay, now slowly come up into a seated position. Actually, let's come into a tabletop position. We're gonna prepare for puppy pose. So bring yourself towards the back of your mat so there's plenty of space in front of you. And we're gonna walk the hands forward. Now, as the hands walk forward, my hips stay over the knees. The arms are gonna stay as straight as I can, but it's always okay to drop the elbows as needed, okay? Now, you can also separate your hands wider apart if you need more space for the shoulders. Sit bones tilt up and just begin to melt the chest towards the ground. Feel that edge, that threshold. Give yourself a few deep breaths, just kind of melt into those shoulders. And then slowly work your way back up. You're gonna walk the hands just a little bit closer in towards you. So wherever that edge was, your hands walk in a little bit closer. And then you're gonna go for another round, but you're not gonna sink into the full depth. I want you to sink in just a little bit. Grip the ground with your hands. If you need to walk them forward, you can. And imagine pulling the ground towards you. One more breath. And then push the ground away. Push it, push it, push it for 3, 2, 1. Relax, come forward and up, spin the legs around, come into a nice comfortable seated position, spine upright. Close your eyes, lift the shoulders forward and up, spine up. Exhale, roll the shoulders back and down. Take your hands together at your heart center. Take a moment to just feel the energy, feel the heat. Thank your bodies for all that they do. We're going to take a deep breath in. Open up your mouth and exhale, let it out. If you need a rest, hit pause and take a rest. Otherwise, thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. Much love and much gratitude. Thanks y'all for practicing with me. I love this kind of work for preparation for arm balances and inversions, but it can also be nice just as a standalone to kind of work some opening and awareness into the core and shoulders together. Like I said, there was no shavasana, so if you need a little full practice experience, take your shavasana here. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will be seeing y'all soon. Thank you.